Shedeur Sanders wasn't supposed to be part of this story, at least not yet. A fifth-round pick with massive expectations, he entered the Browns' orbit as a long-term project. But Cleveland's collapse has changed everything. In a season spiraling toward irrelevance, Sanders is now being framed as a potential savior, with media voices like Tony Grossi surprisingly leading the charge. What began as a developmental plan has turned into an emergency pivot, and suddenly, all eyes are on whether Sanders can skip the learning curve and start winning immediately.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This is about more than filling a gap under center. It's about redefining the team's identity mid-season. With an offensive line in ruins and Stefanski's job on the line, the Browns have reached a crossroads. Shedeur Sanders might not have the experience, but he has the intangibles: leadership, poise, and a deep understanding of the moment. Starting him now isn't reckless. It's strategic. And if it works, it could do more than just salvage 2025. It could reshape the future of the franchise. Tony Grossi flipping on Shedeur Sanders didn't just stir the pot. It lit the fuse. In a season already teetering on the edge, this was the moment where the pressure boiled over. Grossi, a veteran voice in Cleveland sports media and someone who's rarely accused of being impulsive, publicly called for Shedeur Sanders to start against the Dolphins. Not soon, not down the road, next week. And if that doesn't tell you how deep the cracks have gotten inside the Browns organization, nothing will. This isn't just Grossi changing his opinion. This is the loudest, most calculated admission, yet that the team's current direction is unsalvageable. When even the skeptics start sounding the alarm, you know the walls are closing in. Kevin Stefanski is under fire, and it's not just about a few bad play calls or one unlucky bounce. It's about the entire season unraveling under his watch, while the answer to their problems might be holding a clipboard on the sideline. Dillon Gabriel, who's taken the brunt of this mess behind a collapsing offensive line, continues to look overwhelmed. He's not the core problem, but he's not the solution either. With poor protection, inconsistent reads, and zero spark in the passing game, the Browns' offense has been dead on arrival for weeks. And the longer Stefanski sticks with the status quo, the more obvious it becomes. The season is slipping and the head coach is standing still. That's the core of what Grossi is going off about. Not just that Sanders is capable, but that the Browns can't afford another week of pretending otherwise. The urgency isn't theoretical anymore. It's baked into every storyline surrounding this team. The fans know it. The locker room feels it. And now the media is making sure everyone hears it. Shedeur Sanders isn't being pushed because of hype. He's being pushed because the team has nothing left to lose. Let's be clear. The offensive line is in shambles. Dillon Gabriel is getting hit early and often. He's rarely finishing his drop back before defenders are in his face. And as much as the coaching staff tries to scheme around it, it's obvious the current system just isn't built to adapt under this level of pressure. That's where Shedeur becomes more than just a name. He's a counterpunch. A mobile, confident, NFL-groomed quarterback with real poise and a history of thriving under chaos. He's already had to play with bad protection. He's already been in hostile environments, big moments, national scrutiny. And he didn't just survive, he delivered. This is what changes everything. Sanders isn't just talented. He's mentally tough. He processes fast, he stays composed, and he doesn't make panic throws. That's exactly what the Browns are missing under center. And that's exactly why the momentum behind him is growing by the day. When Tony Grossi, someone who historically downplays prospects who come in with noise, starts actively demanding that Sanders play, it's no longer about potential. It's about desperation. It's about reality. The Browns' current trajectory is unsustainable. The offense is barely functioning. The energy is flat. The fans are restless. And the coaching staff looks like they're coaching to avoid losing rather than trying to win. So what happens if they don't start Sanders? They keep losing. They keep hemorrhaging fan support. The locker room grows colder. And the national media takes over the story. Except now it's not about whether Shedeur is ready. It's about whether Stefanski should still be coaching. That's how quickly this can unravel. It's also why Shedeur's debut, if it happens now, could flip the narrative overnight. He's not just marketable, he's magnetic. The media is ready for him. The fans are begging for him. And the NFL? They know what a potential breakout looks like. The league is built on these kind of turning points. A backup getting a shot, a spark catching fire, a franchise finding a new face. And let's not ignore what Shedeur brings beyond the stat sheet. This is a quarterback with command. He doesn't look shaken. He doesn't defer. He walks into a huddle like it's his. That matters more than most people admit. In a crumbling system, belief is currency. And Shedeur Sanders has more of it than anyone in that building right now. The fan base isn't dumb. They've seen this team recycle the same failed pattern for decades. Draft a guy, protect him too long, wait until it's too late, rinse and repeat. But this time, they're not just watching, they're speaking up. And the media has joined them. When beat writers, insiders, and even legacy media voices like Grossi are all calling for Sanders to start, the coaching staff loses the luxury of silence. Every snap Gabriel takes now becomes a question. Every 3-and-out becomes an indictment. Every missed opportunity is a what if. And the longer they wait, the harder it becomes to defend. It's not just about the Dolphins game. It's about tone, perception, identity. Starting Shedeur says, we're not scared to change. We're not married to bad ideas. We're willing to bet on upside when the old plan isn't working. Delaying that decision sends the opposite message. We're paralyzed. We're afraid to be bold. We're clinging to what we know, even if it's failing. Shedeur may be a rookie, but he's not some untested wild card. He's played in big moments. He's shown consistency. He's already adapted to adversity in ways that mirror what he'll see on Sunday. He's not perfect, but he's prepared. And that's more than you can say for most of the quarterbacks who cycled through Cleveland. And beyond the football side, there's a branding layer. Shedeur Sanders is a name, a storyline. He has a built-in audience, a social media following, endorsements, the whole package. In a league that thrives on personality and visibility, Shedeur isn't just a guy who can lead a team. He's someone who can revive a franchise. The NFL is a business, and Shedeur Sanders is good for business. But none of that matters if he's kept on the bench. Every week he doesn't play is a missed opportunity. For the team, for the fans, for the future. And if they wait until after the bye, or when they're mathematically eliminated, it won't feel like a bold move. It'll feel like damage control. Grossi sees that. The fans feel that. And if the Browns don't act now, the window for a real turning point might close before they even realize it was open. So now the pressure is on Stefanski. For real this time. If the Browns come out flat against Miami, and Gabriel looks like the same overwhelmed QB we've seen all season, the questions won't just be about whether Shedeur should start. They'll be about whether Stefanski is the one holding him back, whether fear of disruption has outweighed the desire to win, whether this team is being coached to compete or just to survive. Starting Sanders sends a different signal entirely, that the Browns still want to fight, that they're willing to shake the snow globe and see what happens, that they haven't given up on this season, even if it feels like it's already slipping away. He doesn't have to save the franchise in one game. He just has to give the Browns a shot of life, a reason to believe there's something worth watching on Sundays again. Because right now, they're dangerously close to flatlining. And if Cleveland does make the move, if they roll out Shedeur Sanders in that Dolphins game, it's not just a football decision. It's a franchise reset. So let's hear it. Should Stefanski finally pull the trigger and start Sanders? Is this the moment we look back on as the start of a new era? Or are the Browns really going to let another winnable game go by without even trying something different? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you're ready to see what Shedeur can really do, like the video, share it if you're done watching this team play scared. And hit subscribe, because no matter what the Browns decide, this story is just getting started. The Browns aren't just sitting at a crossroads. They're stuck at a dead end, engines sputtering, headlights fading, while the rest of the league speeds past them with rookie quarterbacks who weren't supposed to be ready, but are already winning games. Teams like the Texans, Colts, and even the Packers have taken the plunge, committed to youth, and watched their rookies grow in real time. Meanwhile, Cleveland is parked, staring at Shedeur Sanders through the rearview mirror, afraid to shift into drive. This team can't afford to be the one that waited too long again. Because that's the pattern, isn't it? Caution disguised as patience. Conservative decisions passed off as development. A never-ending cycle of, we're sticking with our guy until the season's buried. The fans are checked out, and another quarterback ends up on the Browns' historical carousel of mediocrity. And here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders was never supposed to be the story. Not in Week 7. Not in October. But circumstances changed. The O-line broke down. The offensive scheme became stale. Gabriel got thrown into a situation he wasn't built for. And Sanders? He kept preparing. Now, with Stefanski's job dangling by a thread, the calls to start Shedeur have reached a fever pitch. And Tony Grossi going off like this? That's the tipping point. It's one thing for fans to push for a change. But when a guy like Grossi, who's built his entire reputation on holding the Browns' feet to the fire, publicly turns the heat up on Stefanski, that's not an opinion. That's a statement. It signals that the old guard, the analysts, the insiders, the people who watch this franchise cycle through mistake after mistake, have finally reached their breaking point. And when they're out of patience, you know the clock is officially out of time. Starting Shedeur Sanders now isn't about panic. It's about being proactive before it's too late. Because the next few games aren't just games. They're a referendum on leadership, on direction, on whether this team has any sense of urgency left. What message does it send if Stefanski refuses to start Sanders? That they're afraid of change? That they care more about sticking to a flawed plan than giving the franchise a chance to evolve? That they're willing to watch the season crumble just to protect their egos? It's a brutal look. And the fans? They've seen enough of it already. This fan base has endured losing season after losing season, held out hope through countless false starts. But this time, they see a better option. They see a quarterback who looks more composed on the sideline than the starter does on the field. They see Sanders warming up every week, watching every snap, waiting for the one moment Stefanski decides to stop delaying the obvious. And every week that moment doesn't come, the frustration builds. Shedeur has already proven more in college than most late-round QBs ever do. He's not raw. He's not a project. He's a calculated, media-savvy, film-obsessed competitor who's been preparing for the NFL since he was a kid. He's grown up under the microscope, coached by his father, one of the most iconic personalities in football, and stayed grounded through it all. That matters, especially in Cleveland, because this franchise doesn't just need a quarterback. It needs a face. And Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback who can make the throws. He's one who can carry the spotlight without flinching. You can't teach that. You also can't fake it. And with all due respect to Gabriel, there's a reason the offense doesn't rally around him. He's not that guy. He's trying, but the belief just isn't there. The chemistry's off. The rhythm's gone. And the result? A lifeless offense that goes 3 and out more often than it scores points. Now, no one's saying Shedeur walks in and becomes an MVP candidate overnight. That's not the point. The point is this. You don't win anything in this league by playing scared. You win by leaning into potential. And right now, the only potential the Browns have left is standing on the sideline, waiting for his name to be called. Start him. Start him not because you're desperate, but because you refuse to waste another second pretending this offense has anything left to give as is. Start him because it's time to show the locker room that the organization still wants to win, not just maintain appearances. Start him because if he's the guy, if he has even a chance to be the guy, you don't discover that through clipboard duty. You discover on the field. And what better opportunity than this? The Dolphins aren't invincible. Their defense has holes. Their pass rush isn't overwhelming. The game script allows for a reset. And for once, the Browns will control the narrative, not react to it. Instead of answering the same questions after another ugly loss, Stefanski could flip the script. He could walk into the post-game presser and say, "We made a decision. We bet on our rookie, and we're going to build with him." That kind of leadership doesn't just win games. It wins trust. Because let's be real, it's not just about the Dolphins. It's about everything that comes next. If Shedeur gets a shot and shows promise, the entire dynamic of the season changes. Suddenly, the final stretch isn't a painful countdown to the offseason. It becomes a live audition, a new chapter, a chance to develop a foundation before next year. And if he struggles, so what? At least you know. At least you stop wondering. At least you show the fan base and the players that this team isn't afraid to make bold moves when bold moves are required. But right now, every sign points to paralysis. Stefanski hesitating, the coaching staff second-guessing, and ownership quietly watching as the organization drifts toward irrelevance again. Unless they act, unless they listen to the fans, the media, the moment, unless they start Shedeur Sanders. Not because it's convenient, not because it guarantees wins, but because it's the only move that makes sense anymore. If Shedeur Sanders remains on the sideline while Dillon Gabriel gets thrown into another week of disaster-level protection, another week of stalled drives and visible frustration on the faces of skilled players who aren't touching the ball, then this goes from incompetence to negligence. Because at that point, it's not about development or structure. It's about pride. Pride that's blinding decision-makers from the obvious. Pride that says, we'd rather stick with a broken plan than admit we missed the moment. The Browns have reached the part of the season where every decision carries weight beyond the scoreboard. It's about messaging. It's about how this team presents itself, not just to fans, but to the entire NFL. Are they a franchise that adjusts, that adapts, that recognizes momentum and seizes it? Or are they the same old Browns? The ones who hesitate, the ones who let the moment pass, the ones who evaluate internally while the season burns in front of them. Starting Shedeur Sanders wouldn't just change the offensive dynamic. It would send a message to the locker room, the fans, and the league. The message? We're not folding. That's what fans need to hear. Because right now, they're not just frustrated with the losses. They're exhausted by the predictability of it all. They've seen this story before. The coaching staff clings to their QB choice, even as the wheels fall off. A promising young player is kept in development, while the team fades into irrelevance. By the time they finally give him the nod, too late. The season's gone, the locker room's fractured, and the coaching staff is out the door. It doesn't have to be like that this time. The opportunity is still there. Barely, but it's there. The Dolphins game is a fork in the road. It's not just about XS and OS. It's about identity. What do the Browns want to be? A team that takes bold, necessary steps to turn the tide? Or one that rides a tired, broken system into another off-season of regret? You got a quarterback with national recognition, a huge social media following, and a growing base of support across the fan base. A player who isn't just talented, but relevant. He brings energy. He brings eyes. And most of all, he brings belief. Shedeur Sanders has all the tools to be that guy. The accuracy, the football IQ, the timing, the pocket presence, and most importantly, the mentality. He doesn't blink. He doesn't fold. He's not waiting for a perfect situation. He's prepared for the imperfect one, the exact scenario the Browns are in right now. He's been tested already, just not on this stage yet. And that's where the Browns keep hesitating. They're treating Shedeur like an unpolished project who needs to be protected. But what they're really doing is protecting themselves from criticism, from risk, from the chance that giving Shedeur the start might also mean acknowledging that their plan, this quarterback rotation, this offensive scheme, this entire structure, has failed. But failure is already here. Dillon Gabriel getting sacked on 2nd and 7 and walking off the field shaking his head? That's failure. The Browns struggling to reach midfield for entire quarters at a time? That's failure. Kevin Stefanski giving the same "we believe in Dillon" press conference after every game? That's not leadership. That's survival mode. And you can't build anything from survival mode. That's what makes the Shedeur decision so pivotal. Because it's the one thing the Browns haven't tried. It's the only option left that hasn't already disappointed. And it's the only one that still offers some hope, however risky or raw it might be. And let's not act like risk is some foreign concept to this team. This is the same franchise that has taken swing after swing at the quarterback position. Drafted and dumped, traded and prayed, restarted and rebranded. What do they got to lose by taking a swing at the one quarterback on their roster who actually looks like he's ready for the stage? And not just from a skills perspective, but from a brand standpoint. The NFL, whether you like it or not, is a storytelling machine. It sells stars. It thrives on narratives. And Shedeur Sanders is a storyline waiting to explode. From his college journey to his famous father to his built-in fan base, the league is primed for his debut. Why are the Browns so hesitant to capitalize? They have, sitting on their sideline, one of the most marketable rookies in recent memory. A quarterback who wants the attention and who knows how to handle it. A player who won't crumble under the microscope because he's been under it his entire life. This is where the football side and the business side align perfectly. He's good, and he's good for business. He has the tools, the toughness, and the temperament. The locker room could rally behind him. The fans already are. And the media, they're waiting. The moment Shedeur gets that start, the coverage flips. Every camera is pointed at Cleveland. Every analyst weighs in. Suddenly, the Browns go from another disappointing season to one of the most intriguing teams in the second half of the year. That shift matters. It brings energy. It brings identity. It brings relevance. But not if they wait. If they wait, and Gabriel has another lifeless game, and the Browns drop another winnable matchup, it won't just be a missed opportunity. It'll be a defining one. And not in a good way. It'll be one more chapter in a franchise history full of hesitation. One more time they stood on the edge of something new and turned around. And the worst part? They'll still end up starting Shedeur just too late, when the season's mathematically dead, when the momentum's gone, when it feels like an afterthought, not a launch pad. It doesn't have to go like that. They have a window. Right now, this week, a home game, a beatable defense. A moment where they could take control of the story instead of reacting to it. If they make the move now, Shedeur doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to lead. He has to move the ball, inspire some confidence, change the energy. And if he does, even a little, it's a success. Because anything is better than what's happening now. And if you're with us on this, drop your take in the comments. Are you ready for a change? Do you believe Shedeur is the spark this franchise needs right now? Or are you still holding out hope that this offense can magically turn around? Like the video if you're done with safe decisions. Share it if you're tired of waiting for Browns to wake up. And subscribe, because no matter what happens next, whether they finally start Sanders or delay the inevitable, we'll be right here, breaking it down every step of the way. It's time